As I said before, once you do enough in the streets, a timer starts. And at the end, what you've done is going to come back to you. It might happen in a month or it might take a decade. But staying in the same city that you did all your dirt in guarantees that. Although some people bring that energy with them when they leave town and see similar results. If you're not in tune with the drill scene in Chicago, then you might not know THF Bezu, a man that was gunned down execution style in October 2025 in Little Village, a neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. He's better known as a close associate of Lil Durk and King Von, and he was even featured in one of the first songs King Von ever dropped, as well as Von's first real interview. Bezu was not supposed to still be in Chicago. Now, it's heavily rumored that his death was the result of a new conflict rather than a back and forth war that he's been associated with since at least 2009. But this wasn't just some kid on the streets gangbanging. Zu was in his mid-30s when he died, but in the decade and a half leading up to his death, there were rumors implicating him in several murders. He was even hit with a murder charge that didn't stick. He's toured the country with one of the biggest rappers in the world and was involved in one of the deadliest Chicago gang wars in recent history. And he was even arrested and charged with an attempted murder alongside King Von, Lil Durk, and a man they were associated with that rapped under the name Hellabans. Another charge, however, that didn't stick. Zu has beat death in the streets and the system over and over again, and he's become so famous for the wrong reason that his death was even being reported on in India. Now obviously it can't be confirmed if Zu did everything he's been accused of in the streets because people lie and rumors spread fast. And as far as murders, well, as I said, he's never actually been found guilty, but then again, neither had King Von. But when your name is coming up in situations like this over and over again for years, at some point, you have to leave. You see, when the streets get to you before the law does, it's usually over something most people didn't.
But nah, this is what niggas be thinking though. They think because they been in the streets for so long, they think they so adapted and they so OG to it. It's like they think nobody can touch them. They think nobody can do nothing to them. That's what they really think. So that's what really be getting them fucked up type shit.
Even see coming. Everyone on the internet will try to associate.
I'm pretty sure he was one of them niggas thought, oh yeah, nigga can't come around this bitch. Nigga can't do me nothing. Nigga, I bet you he thought that. Niggas be thinking like that. Bro, you survive the streets at a young age and you 35 years old or 30-some years old. You gonna think that, bro. Because you been in the streets for so long and nobody did you nothing, so, you know.
His murder with the war between his hood and 051, which is a set they've been in tour with for years, or this new conflict that allegedly started over some stolen watches and led to multiple murders. They even led to rumors that Zu himself was putting money on people's heads, but again, that could just be a rumor. In truth, it could all be false, because someone like Zu would have had to deal with the risk of something like this happening no matter what, as long as he stayed in the same streets he's been in since he was born. It's just a fact when you live in that kind of life, that for every killer, there's another killer. Younger, faster, and with a newer gun. Zu was caught at an auto parts store in broad daylight, when, as a person of his reputation, he should have just had someone to go and get the car parts for him. There's no way he should have been out there himself in Chicago. He's not a regular civilian, because killers are not riding around looking for civilians. He knew better than to stay in one spot in Chicago for too long, as you can even hear him say himself.
You need to hurry up and pull up. I'm finna scratch. I've been up here too long, man. Every time I'm in the rack too long, I end up somewhere I'm supposed to be.
Recently, I saw a very disturbing video of a guy in Chicago, a gang member, who was caught in traffic by his rivals. He crashed the car after he got shot, and the end result was him being decapitated. And this is allegedly part of a long war on the west side in Chicago that I first heard of when I saw a video from a few years back where a kid ran into a neighborhood trying to shoot at somebody, only to be killed when somebody shot back. And then the crowd he was firing at recorded him and mocked him as he lay on the ground in front of the police. All of this makes you wonder, why would someone living this life that not only survived to age 21 but made it into their 30s in a life that usually ends before 25, why would you still be around the same thing? This is not how civilians in Chicago live. This is how gang members live. There's a big difference. Zu was nowhere near the part of Chicago he was known to be active in, so that means that whoever got him likely came from the other side of the city. And if somebody is willing to drive across Chicago, run over every pothole, and make it through the worst traffic in the Midwest just to kill you, you didn't stand a chance, because that means sooner or later they were going to get you. And FBG Duck has been spoken about for a long time, and I'm sure you guys have already heard about him because his death has been covered so much that it even has his own Wikipedia page. Duck himself didn't even have a Wikipedia page when he was alive, but his death was so captivating around the country that both he and his murder case got their own Wikipedia pages. The thing about Duck is that, like many other guys in the hood, and even the average guy from a small country,
this don't really got nothing to do with it, but it kind of do. It's crazy though, cause like when you die and shit, So much people cherish you. You get so much fans. You get so much love. It's like, it's weird how the internet is. Like, motherfucker die right now. He been a rapper for 2-3 years. And he just died today. Everybody gonna swear they was listening to you. They gonna swear you had the best music. It's like, they gonna cherish the fuck out of you, bro. But when you alive, they don't do none of that. They hate on you. They disrespect you the worst way. They do you the worst way until you die. It's crazy though, but shit, that's how it is.
Town. He likely couldn't imagine leaving his old life behind to start over somewhere new. And when I say old life, I don't mean gang life. I mean being able to see the house you grew up in, going to the same stores you've gone to for your whole life, seeing the blocks that you have your memories on, where you hung with your friends, where you laughed, where you cried, everything you're familiar with. But unlike the average person in Chicago, Duck had a name. He had influence, and most importantly, he had dangerous enemies. And just like earlier, many people think that he was killed because of the main conflict he was known to be involved in, and that's partially true. But there were even rumors that King Von had a $100,000 bounty on his head. But that's not how it played out in court. A man known as Teasy is the one who called the killers to come and get Duck over a personal vendetta, and the mother of his child even testified in court to support that. King Von could have provided some incentive for his gang to get rid of Duck, but Duck was usually posted just a few blocks away from where the killers lived. So if there was a bounty on his head, it's likely they would have just caught him on his own block. It would have also been a much shorter drive with less traffic cameras than a long drive downtown to the luxurious Gold Coast, which is the neighborhood he was caught in. He was killed for something that only happened because he was spotted by a man who was jealous of his former relationship with a woman. And that's just further proof that when you have a name like that,
and it be shit like that too. Niggas be mad about a bitch. Like, it's so many women. Like, bro, I ain't never been that tune about no old game. Like, I see the next motherfucker fucking with somebody I'm fucking with. You got it. I'm just gonna fuck with your whole shit. Fuck it. Niggas be so tender, bro. They'll do anything about, like, that's on, and that's another reason. Girls run this world for sure. Girls run the world for sure. You gonna either get set up by a girl, you gonna die over a girl, or something gonna happen. You ain't gonna never see no damn girl die over no damn nigga. You ain't never seen no girl die cause a nigga set up a girl. See what I'm trying to say? But that's another different story from this time. But yeah, niggas be tender as hell though.
The freedom to move around the city like everyone else, because you have a target on your back. And after all the disrespect and years of gang war, his death was essentially over a woman. He signed a record deal a couple years before his death. In my opinion, he should have moved as soon as he got his advance.
If it was that big a problem, you should have pressed him about the whole. Why you got somebody else to do your work? Why you ain't go do nothing to him? If it was that deep, he was fucking with your girl, why you ain't do nothing to Duck? You should have did something to him. See, these niggas really be pussy as hell if you think about it.
Because we're used to living in Chicago, you might not know offhand how much cheaper it is to live in basically any other part of the Midwest. Chicago is one of the most expensive cities in the world. It might not always rank as such because it's not one of the most expensive cities as far as real estate and the cost of rent. But when you factor in the rent, groceries, restaurant prices in the city, and local purchasing power, some rankings put it at number 10 in the world, just behind Los Angeles. So when you grow up here, you don't realize that you can get a 3-bedroom in Southern Illinois for the price of a 1-bedroom in Chicago.
You mentioned this before. You feel that people want to kill you.
Of course I know motherfuckers want to kill me. I'm a very disrespectful person. I know what I did in my lifetime.
I've mentioned it in 2 videos so far, but that list the Chicago police had of people who have in some way been involved in gun violence, such as a person who was near a shooting or had been shot and survived, the list ranked the likelihood of that person being involved in another instance of gun violence, either as the victim or the perpetrator. And young Pappy was near the top of that list right before he died from gun violence. But even though the list was put together by an algorithm, the results were obvious. Pappy had already been the potential victim of at least 2 different attempted murders, so it's no surprise that if he stayed in the same area, he would eventually be the victim of a 3rd. Duck, although years ago, had been shot before in the leg, allegedly. And also, there were several people around Duck that were all murdered within a 3-year span before his own murder. There's even a YouTube channel called Status Update Exclusive, which is a guy named Kyle that vlogged all his time around Duck on his journey to the record deal. But there are several haunting videos on his channel, such as this one where 4 men, including Duck, are playing cards at a table, but only one person at this table is still alive today, and that's Dutchie. Many guys in the streets get a second chance. Some take advantage of it, and some continue on like nothing happened. I remember this kid that used to go to the same church my grandmother went to. The church is in Inglewood, Chicago, which is a pretty rough area in most parts. One day he was walking and a barrage of shots got let off in his direction, but everyone missed. I don't know what he was into for something like this to happen, but when he came back to church that next Sunday, he volunteered to play the drums. And in my grandmother's words, he beat that drum like a fool. Most part, only truly dangerous to you if you put a target on your back. The amount of murders you see might convince you that these are random shootings, but in reality, it's usually people with a target on their back being too comfortable in the location, or someone else who decided to hang out with the person that has a target on their back. I call it cheating death in Chicago, but the same can apply anywhere. It may be hard to understand from the outside looking in, but these are guys involved in back and forth conflicts with killers, and you can only escape for so long. Eventually, if you stay in the streets as long as someone like Zoo and your main enemies are now a little older, you still risk the possibility of making newer, younger enemies. Enemies brash enough to catch you in broad daylight instead of waiting in the shadows for you. He reminds me of the quote, "Beware of an old man in a profession where men die young," and how that quote is also not always true. In the streets, at some point, you'll go from being the young man to having to watch out for the young man, if that's the life that you live in. At 35,
That nigga just said some real ass shit. That's facts right there. You niggas gotta understand that, bro. Just because they don't know you, they're doing. But you is a big name in Chicago. A young nigga like my age, 16, 17, 18, bro, they would do anything to put their name out there and be like, oh yeah, that nigga, he just killed Zoo. Oh yeah, he a gangster, he like that, he this and that. Cause they want that type of reputation type shit. But you gotta, as a grown man, 35, 30, however old you is, you gotta be like, yeah, I gotta get out the street. These new young niggas ain't thinking how we used to think. They probably gonna do it just cause they gonna think they look cooler if they do it. Y'all probably had morals back then, so I'm saying? So it's like, they gonna find any reason to do anything, bro. Especially niggas nowadays, they don't give a fuck who you is. As long as they know you was a gangster or whatever you did, they'll go do it. Just to look cool.
you might forget that the young killers who want to replace you popped some pills last night and they've been driving around for hours trying to catch you. A 17 or 18-year-old that sees you as a threat and may have even heard allegations that you're paying to get people killed, those guys will dedicate time to finding you, time that you don't have to hide. Duck was only 26 when he died, but the main shooter that got him, Muop, was only 20 at the time. That might not seem like much of a difference, but by the time Duck had graduated high school, Muop was only in 8th grade. This is likely a guy Duck wasn't even familiar with. When I say that most of the gang members are teenagers, it shouldn't be a surprise because nobody else has time to be out here reckless like that. So if that's the life you chose and you somehow made it well into adulthood, you should retire. But one thing you can't do is retire in that city. But that's all I got for today, man. Thank you guys for watching. We almost at 200K subscribers.
Then I be seeing a lot of old heads that's still in the streets. I see a lot of those, like, and they think that shit cool, bro. Like, that shit is not cool. You old as fuck, still in the hood, broke as hell, doing the same shit you was doing when you was young. Then they be trying to get the new young niggas that's growing up to do the same shit they doing. They don't even have the urge to be like, hey, bro, stay in school, do this and that. They encourage the shit, but